question after our study that's going to record what's going through it. Again, realizing that you may never really truly know with the phenomenon of fish going over the main dam of Maple Hill, right? But I know it works, and I've also sat there and watched fish go up to the grate and just sit there right in front of the grate, pull up, and go down the fishway. So I have confidence that it works. I've seen it work. I close it down. I regularly see smolts in that process. So yeah, I know what you're saying and what you're thinking and not saying is what effect could Maple Hill facility have on this population. We should be able to have a better idea of that later on. And you know what, step by step, like we've come a long way as a group, us the Ontario Steelheaders, and you know, in the last 5 or 6 years, like we're getting fish into places that we haven't had fish before. We're, you know, the stocking's working. We're doing great stuff working together. You know, we're now into the assessment phase of this. It doesn't necessarily mean it stops here. If there's further problems, we're going to address them just like we addressed the problems of passage up. If we have issues of passage down, then that should come out and we're going to deal with them, right? We probably not going to rest on our laurels because there's been an awful lot of good work done. So I guess we'll leave it at that.
Do you have cooperation from the owner of the dam in maintaining water levels at sufficient height to keep all the fishways open?
Yeah, and I got to put my plug in for Maple Hill because it's one of those things in your working career where you know, I'm proud of our relationship with Charles, the owner of Maple Hill. We've come a long way, and you know, I think there was some feelings in the community about maybe the way things have been in the past, and maybe his relationship with the local people. But I tell you, that guy's given an awful lot. I feel I have a trusting relationship with him, and you know, he allowed us full access onto his dam, and he owns the bed of that river. He owns the dam, and you know, after some relationship building, we have a really good relationship with them. There's a lot of sharing of information, and you know what? We collectively put a fishway on his dam, right? So let me tell you, that's a true partner, and it's somebody that I know we can work with in the future. Realizing too that he's not there because he's an avid angler. He's there because he has a business venture, and he's there to make money, right? So he has a water management plan that he adheres to, and you know, we monitor it. I want to leave you with that. He's one of our partners, and yeah, don't worry about that process. Before I hand you over to Dave, I just wanted to say also, probably the last time I was up here talking to you guys about Thornbury Dam. When we put Thornbury Dam in, part of that process involved a fish monitoring system from Iceland that we worked with a couple of years before we finally gave up and determined that $80,000 piece of equipment was pretty much useless, and we went with the Chris Bunt's biotactic fish monitoring system on Thornbury. We went through kind of a year of growing pains with that. We feel that system is working pretty good, and we've had some results with that almost mirror the amount of passage year after year, so 2 years, where these runs are almost mirroring each other in fish numbers. But so I remember coming to you guys and saying that Dalton, or old Dalty as Grant would say, came up with the money to buy the system that was put into to the Saugeen there. So I remember saying to the Denny's Dam posse there that just like work with me and just have some faith, and despite what your misgivings or whatever, just stick with me on this, and thanks guys, because we wouldn't be where we are with that system without you guys. You put a lot of time in. And it's, we called it knew that was gonna be a growing year, and man, it was a growing year, right? It was a real test, and again, just your aptitude and your common sense got that system to where it is, but I just kind of wanted to remind you guys of what that is. Like, again, that system is in place, and broadcasting, thanks to you guys and your commitment to pick up the cost for doing so. We certainly had our challenges, but there might be some misconception about what that system can do, and originally when I spoke of it, it was probably never a system that was supposed to sit on your desktop and broadcast continuously to every user that ever logs on. There's a capacity issue there. So if we go back to the reasons why this is installed and stuff, is it's not so much of a there's X amount of, there's 50,569 fish that went up this year. We're looking through for trends over time. This is long-term data that we're really hoping to utilize. I feel very strongly, and I almost can guarantee that this is going to be extremely useful data with things like climate change, invasive species, just showing what's happening, how a natural system evolves over time. This is the type of equipment that's going to be able to do it. If your biggest concern from the start was exact numbers of fish going up the Saugeen, I'm not sure that there'll be any piece of equipment that'll ever do that for you. You guys know some of the things that you guys have overcome, your ingenuity with lighting and background, white backgrounds and stuff like that. Saugeen's a bitch, like it's a very turbid big system, right? It's not like the Beaver. This was real work in progress to get this thing up and running efficiently. Yeah, there's going to be days where it might not work, but if we stick with it, we're going to get a lot of data over time already. Talking to Dr. Bunt there, he was at, I don't know, was that the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission? Anyways, they're really interested in this data already on percentage of fish that are going through fishways with lampreys attached. Really interested. They want to invest a lot more time in that kind of research and on how what effect that might have on lamprey and lampricide. And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, when you put this camera, you would have thought that would have been one of the reasons we were doing it, but invasive species. What else is using that fishway? We already have at Thornbury, first time ever, species that are using fishways that were never documented. But the biggest thing is we're going through an exercise, as an example, what I think the system can do for us. Going through an exercise recently on collecting information. The southern region is considering extending the bass, right? But we want to, this decision is going to be based on science and temperature. So we know at 19 degrees Celsius, bass have hatched and they're gone from the nest, right? So we go through all our different agencies with conservation authorities, MOE, and all our partners that collect information on the Saugeen. Almost impossible for me to go back very far and find out the first day that the Saugeen got to 19 degrees Celsius. I think in this day and age it'd be pretty easy. I don't have much data. However, you know, we look at this camera and it's collecting temperatures every minute. Every minute that camera, even when it's not functioning and you can't see anything, it's collecting temperature. Imagine how useful that might be 10 or 20 years down the road in making fisheries management decisions. We're talking about bass today. I don't know what we're going to be talking about in 10 years, but now we have something that's cataloging and storing this very useful information. So again, I think we've come a long way. Again, I credit you guys for getting us there, and I think we have a little ways to go, but I think we're over the hump. And again, stick with me here because I have all the faith in the world that this thing is going to work to our advantage. So I'm still around. Let's get Dave up here because I need a drink and we can